Let's dive into the discussions shaping the nation.
Taoiseach, over the course of the next week, you'll engage in three crucially important meetings for Ireland's future. Firstly, a meeting with the British Prime Minister, in which I hope you will press for a reset of relationships as equal partners. Then an EU Council meeting at a time when the EU Commission has kick-started an EU arms race, proposing a colossal €800 billion in military spending. And then you travel to the United States to meet with the US President in the White House at a time when an outrageous threat of mass expulsion from Gaza hangs over 2 million Palestinians. This year's St. Patrick's Day meeting comes at a time of conflict, of challenge and of deep uncertainty in the world. It also, Taoiseach, comes at a time of deep public concern regarding your moves to dismantle the triple lock and undermine Ireland's neutrality. People ask why Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael don't bring that same urgency when dealing with housing or access to healthcare or dealing with the cost of living. It's never been more important for Ireland to protect and assert our long-standing neutrality fully intact. The meeting with the US President presents an opportunity to address Ireland's interests, but also a moment to speak honestly with the US President, voicing Ireland's position clearly on pressing international affairs. Taoiseach, I'm certain that you will impress upon President Trump the importance of continued US support for our peace process, for the Good Friday Agreement, a need for a solution for the undocumented Irish, and of course the real concerns regarding the impact that tariffs could have on Ireland's economy, on jobs and on future prosperity. The message has to be that Ireland is a location of choice for American investment for very good reason, that the economic relationship between our two countries is a two-way street and must continue in the time ahead. This will be your last time taking leaders' questions before you make that journey to the United States. So, Taoiseach, can I ask you to set out for the Dáil very, very clearly what it is that you will say to the US President regarding Ukraine and Gaza? Will you put it to President Trump that Ireland stands on the side of international law and diplomacy, that the sovereignty of Ukraine must be upheld, that the pressing and immediate priority now is to build peace through inclusive engagement and good faith dialogue? And what, Taoiseach, will be your message to the American President in standing with the Palestinian people? Will you express Ireland's strong view that the US is catastrophically wrong on Gaza, that the proposal for the mass expulsion of Palestinians from Gaza is absolutely an unacceptable breach of international law, deeply destabilising for the Middle East and the wider world? Remember, this view can be most powerfully delivered by an Ireland that is a military neutral. Remember, it was the unaligned countries who spoke for Palestine's right to exist, while those in powerful military alliances failed to stop the genocide. In fact, they financed it and armed the Israeli war machine. So caithí an teachtarach dó éireann sa teach bán ógur féidir agus gur gá dár tír bheith mar leathmhódóirí rathúil ar son na síochána ar son an dulcan cín agus ar son rathúnas na cruinne. Ireland and America can be successful partners for peace, progress and prosperity, but only if we choose to be, only if we are determined to be. So can I ask you, Taoiseach, to set out clearly what is your message to the United States on Palestine and Gaza?
Tá carta go a heachsa go bhfuil na cruinnithe a bheith agam so teachtain seo agus an teachtain seo cuaing go bhfuil siad tochtach agus léiríonn siad an ghaol leidir agus tochtach idir ardír agus an bhreatain cécho tochtach is atá ar ghaol idir na tíre san Aontas Eorpach agus gan áras an ghaol anna leidir idir na Stáit Aontaithe agus or dear. Agus go háirithe trí cín cuasaíocht amíochta rítheachtach fad. Mar ní léon áras ach go raithin forbert cuasaí Gallagher na tíre seo na Gaelta sin. Idir na Stáit Aontaithe, an Bhreatain, agus an ósráide go bhfuil míad páirteach san Aontas Eorpachanis ó 73 amach. So, since I've become Taoiseach, I have identified a number of relationships that are key to Ireland's future, have been key to our success over the last 30 or 40 years. The Irish United Kingdom relationship is an extremely important one. They are our closest neighbour. And tonight we begin an annual summit which will occur every year now between the United Kingdom government and the Irish government. And it's a relationship of family, it's a relationship of neighbours, it's a very, very strong economic relationship, and we shouldn't forget that, notwithstanding Brexit. Many, many Irish small to medium-sized companies, when they begin their export story, they begin it in the British market. And we will be seeking and working to see if we can ease the barriers that are in the way of trade between the United Kingdom and Ireland, and indeed the EU more generally, because economic growth in Britain will be good for Ireland and will help economic growth in Ireland. So I'm looking forward to that meeting with my colleagues in government, a number of ministers meeting with their counterparts as part of this UK-Ireland summit also. The EU Council is a moment of huge importance, and I'm somewhat perplexed by your reference to Europe is kick-starting an arms race. I think you're missing the point. Europe and many European countries are very fearful of the threat that Russia poses to their very existence. And many of these countries have had history with Russia. The Baltics in particular, Poland and many others. We shouldn't forget that, or in our complacency in this part of the world, sort of undermine or seek to dismiss very legitimate fears that these countries have about their very, very survival. And it is real. And Europe has to be self-reliant. And Europe, in order to ensure peace and prosperity, because Europe wants peace. President von der Leyen made that in her opening remarks. Europe is about peace, it's about prosperity, it's about quality of life for its citizens. No one wants war. But the bottom line is that Europe is exposed right now. And Europe needs to enhance, European member states do, military capability and security capability across a lot of domains, including cybersecurity, maritime security, energy security, and so forth. In terms of the United States' relationship with Ireland, that is older than the state itself, and it's an extremely important one. And we're going fundamentally, of course, to celebrate the links, historic links between Ireland and the US. Patrick's Day has always been the traditional day to do that, and Patrick's Week, and to be there for our diaspora. 30 million people claim Irish American or Irish descent. In terms of the core issues, the economic relationship is very important. We're an open, small economy, pro-free trade, and I'll be articulating that perspective. We will also articulate our views in relation to Ukraine and in relation to the Middle East also. And I can come back later in the next section.
Well, gandáis tána na Gaelta sinnalig tá siad galéir anna tábhachtach ar fad. That is why I've raised the question with you, Taoiseach. I'm not in the least bit complacent. I am deeply, deeply concerned about the international order at this time and Ireland's place within it. Taoiseach, peace is not achieved by investing and financing war. 800 billion euro of European expenditure. Every rule in the book set aside to enable 800 billion euro of investment in the weapons of war. That's not a peace strategy. It's patently not. This country is a neutral country, militarily unaligned, and that places us in the strongest position to advocate for international law, for the UN system, for real processes of dialogue and conflict resolution, and that is where we need to be. Can you set out much more clearly what exactly you will say on Ukraine and in particular on Gaza and the Palestinian question?
First of all, I would invite you to go and talk to political parties in Lithuania, in Latvia and Estonia. Just go and talk to them. Ask them if you think our position is somehow going to ease their concern and their anxiety. I don't think you do. I don't think you get it. And I think you need to engage more widely in terms of the perspectives of others on the European continent, because they have bitter experience of what happened to their people over many, many decades and indeed centuries. And the one bright spot they got was with the collapse of the old Soviet Union. They got access to the European Union, and that's where they want to be, and they want to be secure. In respect of peace, we want a peace settlement that's durable and sustainable in Ukraine. President Trump wants a peace settlement in Ukraine. There are different perspectives on how to arrive at that. Yes, there are, clearly. And secondly, in terms of Gaza, and the Middle East, again, let's be clear, we want to consolidate the ceasefire. We'll be very strongly making that point. We want a surge of humanitarian aid into Gaza. We just heard it's come through the Arab Peace Initiative and the Arab proposals in respect of Gaza, which I think have a lot to commend themselves.
Like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.